is PWF Empire Live.
It's the best thing going today.
The best insight and analysis on the hottest topics in the world of wrestling happens here. From storylines and news to rumors and reviews, we've got the action covered from bell to bell. Presented by PWFEmpire.com with your hosts, Charlie Feast, Evan Medina, and J-Dub.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
The match starts now.
PWF Empire is alive following Monday Night Raw, which served as the go-home show, or at least the go-home show in my eyes, because who the hell watches SmackDown, to WWE's next pay-per-view, Battleground. We are set to see Seth Rollins get massacred by Brock Lesnar. That is the plan as of now. Of course, things could change in the meantime, but for where we are right now, I am Jay. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to PWF Empire Live. I'm joined on the hosting panel tonight by Evan and also Steven. What's up, guys?
I'm vacationing, so I'm pretty well, in a different location.
Cool. Sounds awesome. I'm a little jealous, too, so...
Yeah, catching some sun, getting tan-er.
Oh, if that's the definition of a vacation, though, shit, I live in Arizona. It's like 100 degrees all the time, so I guess I'm on vacation every day.
Man, I guess I
got a permanent tan, too, so...
Yeah. I guess I gotta go out there then, man.
No.
No, not a good idea.
No.
I'll stick with the snow.
What's going on with you, Steven?
Well, I'm really excited to see Seth Rollins get killed by Brock Lesnar. I'm sold on it. You have my $10, WWE. I'm ready to see it.
You really think it's going to work out that way, though?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I want to brighten up everyone's spirits. I want to start off the show not even discussing Battleground, because I know this is the Battleground preview. At this current moment, we don't have a Divas match booked for Battleground, but what we did have booked on Monday Night Raw tonight was the invasion from the NXT Divas. We saw the debuts or re-debut of Charlotte. I remember when she had that match versus Natalya a few months ago, and they told us, oh, well, she lost to Charlotte on her debut. When she actually does debut on the main roster, nobody's going to remember it. I remember it, but that's neither here nor there. Charlotte debuted along with Becky Lynch and also the NXT Women's Champion, Sasha Banks, the boss. And we saw a few splits surface in the Divas division. On one side of things, we had Sasha Banks and Naomi and also Tamina. Then we had Nikki, the WWE Divas Champion. We had Brie Bella, and we also had Alicia Fox join them. And then on the other side of things, there was Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Paige. This was an awesome moment that delved into complete chaos, and it also came down to the three NXT Divas showing off their submission prowess. But here's the thing. We're at a point right now where it looks as if change is coming to the Divas division. The way that Stephanie McMahon set it up on Raw, she was talking about how women are dominating in sports. She gave examples of the U.S. soccer team, the women's soccer team, Serena Williams kicking ass in tennis, and also Ronda Rousey kicking ass in the octagon. So a lot is going on with women in sports, and WWE wants to take a bit of a bite out of that. Do you think that this was a great start for them moving in that direction?
Well, if they're going to move in this direction, they got to commit fully, which means that there's some tweaks that need to be made, When back when they still had the John Cena spinny belts, we all kind of wondered, well, I can't really imagine The Rock wearing that title. That's sort of how I feel with the Divas title right now. It's like when I see Sasha Banks, I'm like, there's no way in hell I can imagine Sasha Banks with that butterfly belt. So I think that's one thing. They got to change the Divas title, and they have to go all the way with this. They have to commit to giving the Divas storylines. They have to commit to giving them match time, which they kind of have these past few months. But, they got to commit.
What about you, Evan?
I also agree with that. Yes, they do need to commit. And my whole thing is, like, if I was to do, like, a miniature buy and sell here, I'd have to say that this is where I cannot buy this yet. You know, I'm still on the sell side of this as far as I'm concerned, because honestly, as much as I want to be like, yes, here we go, greatness, this is a great sign, a great step, but is that necessarily going to translate into a week-to-week thing? That's where I'm going to basically try to say, until they give me, you know, weeks and weeks of proof that this is going to be a real thing, then I'm going to buy it, you know, so to speak. So I'm being cautiously optimistic, to sum it up. So I'm very happy. Don't look at me as if I'm some, you know, being negative here or looking at it on the wrong side of things, because I personally am a huge fan of the way that this segment took place here. The fact that there were so many, you know, 3 NXT talents, arguably 3 of the best NXT talents on the women's side here, including the NXT Women's Champion. So it's awesome to see this. This is really exciting, but you just have to actually see proof in order to really believe that this is going to be a consistent thing that we can see going forward. And that's what I want. That's what everybody has wanted. And, you know, I really think that you know, and it's been a long time coming. This should be the time. It's perfect. It's perfect timing.
It has to be.
Whatever Stephanie had to say was perfect. I love that. That's fantastic. This is the time to do it. So, I mean, I'm not saying now or never, but it's long overdue. So now would be a damn good time, wouldn't it? I mean...
No, I'm saying now or never, because the way that she set it up, that was all that I was asking for, and more, actually, with the Divas division in WWE, because this wasn't just some simple thing where you could just have someone like a Charlotte debut on her own, or Sasha Banks debut on her own. As awesome as they are in and of themselves, it's not about individual talents in the Divas division. It's all about the Divas division itself, the foundation on which the Divas division is formed. And with Stephanie going out there and talking about how all of these women are dominating sports and it's about time that WWE picks up off of that, that signaled a changing of the narrative with the Divas division. That signaled a paradigm shift in the way that the Divas are going to be handled. And if they put their money where their mouth is, if they don't want Stephanie McMahon to come off like a damn fool going out there and talking about all of those things, then this is going to be the time where things change. Hell, I am standing here or sitting here right now saying it is now or never right now, because you have 3 amazing talents that are doing great things down in NXT, and I'll be damned if you take them from NXT, where I'm enjoying them, where time and time again the Divas have been putting on the best matches on the NXT specials. I'll be damned if you take them away from me on NXT and bring them into the fuckery that is a Divas division on the main roster. So it is now or never. Put your money where your mouth is. Put some force, put some effort behind those words from Stephanie, and as long as you provide them with the opportunity, I think that we're off on a good road. And
you know what? You know, another reason why I think this is such a great time, too, is because there's such a big female audience now. Like, this was such a male-dominated industry for all these years, and this is the time when more and more females are getting into wrestling, and they're going to look up to the women wrestlers, the divas, and if they are good and talented and featured in a good way, then they are going to have more reason to believe that they can do this just as well as a guy can, and they should be able to feel that they have a shot at being this. They don't have to feel like, oh, because I'm a girl I have to look a certain way and be a certain way in order to be good and get over. I think these NXT women are revolutionizing women's wrestling in terms of making it finally something that we can really enjoy in terms of in-ring quality, and not use it and base it solely off of sexuality as it shouldn't have always had to have been. And I think that's a fantastic thing. That is something we have to look at as a positive light and a good change in the wrestling business. I want to see it change and flourish, and I'm really hoping it does. Again, I'm being cautiously optimistic, but I want this to be something that we get to see in the coming months and years.
Yeah, and this is something that going back to what you said, this isn't just about revolutionizing women's wrestling versus what we see on the main roster today. Shit, go back to the Attitude Era, because we've had Sasha Banks. She's done a few interviews where she talks about how she didn't really look up to anyone in the Divas division around that time because she couldn't possibly do that. And I think she did one interview where she was talking about how her mom would watch wrestling with her and she would see like the bra and panties matches and things like that. And Sasha, as a kid, she wanted to be a wrestler. And her mom would say, is this is really what you want to do? And she's like, no, Mom, I don't want to do that. I want to be a female Eddie Guerrero. I want to be like that, like a legit wrestler, not jumping onto that whole sex appeal bandwagon. And that is something that I honestly crave as a wrestling fan. I really would like to see that change come to WWE. And I'm not necessarily saying you completely get rid of the whole sex appeal with the Divas. Just let's see some variety. Let's see different kinds of characters. There are not, well, shit, sometimes there is, but on the main roster with the guys, we do see variations in characters and things like that. So I am readily anticipating that coming to the Divas. And this is not me saying that that one segment saved the Divas. It's saying that this was a good sign. And if they stick to their words, we're going to be on a good road. We are.
I'll be optimistic about this when they get rid of the butterfly belt. But it was a good sign.
Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and move over to Battleground now. And of course, guys, we're going to be going down the card match by match, giving you all our thoughts on the build-up for these matches and also our predictions on what we think is going to happen at the show, what we expect to happen, what we want to happen, and what actually will happen. You know, if we have any Nostradamus or Nostradamus, is that it? I don't know. But
that's a good plural way of putting that.
I guess we'll see. But yeah, let's go ahead and get things started. And you're more than welcome to do the same in the chat box on YouTube if you're watching the video live there, on the chat on PWFempire.com if that's where you're checking out the show, and also on Twitter with the hashtag PWF Empire, because as always the conversation continues on and off air. Let's go ahead and get that conversation with Battleground started with John Cena and Kevin Owens match for the United States Championship. Kevin Owens has been coming out on Raw these past few weeks teasing taking the United States Championship right then and there, but we will finally see this match on Sunday. What have you all thought about the build-up of this? What will be the rubber match between Cena and Owens?
It's really strange because it's hard for me to distinguish this match from the past two matches. If you ask me how is the build-up for the entire feud, I say it's been pretty good. How is the build-up for this match in particular? Well, I don't know. It's been a very strange kind of whirlwind of events, and I don't think it's necessarily been bad. I've been enjoying it. You have Cesaro in the mix. Today you have Rusev. I'm not sure why, but he was there too. It's been a decent build. It hasn't been bad, but it's been very strangely booked, especially because every time, it seems like every week you have Cena making the open challenge, and then Kevin Owens comes out. He says he's taking the open challenge, and then he's like, nah, I'll wait for my match at Battleground. And now today he takes the open challenge, and he competes in a match, but then he leaves, and I'm not sure what he was thinking. But
he was thinking, I don't have to win this match because I got your ass on Sunday. That's what he was thinking.
True, but then why did he start the match, and why did he?
Because he is a heel. That's why. Because wrestling. That's
I mean, I'll take that. I'm not saying it was terrible, but it was a bit confusing.
Oh, didn't you just love the promo when they were talking French and all these different languages? That was my favorite part.
And I honestly enjoyed hearing Cena speak Chinese.
It was interesting, but I didn't really know what they were saying, so I couldn't really follow.
That was like the weak point of it, but
yes.
Everything else has been awesome.
That was Vince McMahon's idea.
He let somebody else book the rest, but that one, Vince was like, okay, let me put my little fingerprints on this a little bit.
You know what'll do the trick? Them speaking French. But anyway, honestly, Cesaro stole a lot of the thunder, I feel like, in this build-up because of how great his matches were with John Cena. But I will still say that the build-up for this has been good, and I really do look forward to their rubber match. It's interesting as to what's going to happen here. I really am not sure who's going to win this one because it leaves me with a lot of possibilities. I feel like there's, the possibility of someone else getting involved like a Cesaro here, and they've continued to make that a possibility, and I wouldn't mind something like that, a DQ type of finish with a Cesaro involvement or something along those lines. I think that'd be actually pretty cool. But honestly, I have enjoyed this feud a lot, and I think it's been great for Kevin Owens as a character. I think he has done some great heel work on the main roster, and I think he's been proof of someone who's come up from NXT to the main roster and has been something that's been positive. And that's great, because we've seen a lot of things come up from NXT to the main roster and have been negative. So I think that's, so far, Kevin Owens' run has been good. In terms of who wins, I think John Cena hangs on to the belt till SummerSlam. So,
see, I was thinking that with all this talk about Cesaro, I was thinking that what happened on Monday Night Raw with the triple threat match, which was a fucking awesome match, I was thinking that that was going to be Cesaro's way into the feud, like a more permanent part in the feud, because I could have totally seen Cesaro winning that match and John Cena being Mr. Upstanding Citizen, the superhero, saying, you know what, kid, you put in work tonight. Let's make some type of deal where you actually are put into the match this Sunday and it becomes a triple threat. And of course that would enrage Kevin Owens, and it just shifts the dynamic, and it also saves the actual one-on-one contest between Cena and Kevin Owens for SummerSlam. But that didn't happen with Rusev winning the match. But
what was that about? I'm flabbergasted that they had Cesaro lose to Rusev, because I don't see what it accomplished for either guy. I mean, I know that, I guess they're trying to maintain Rusev's credibility, but Cesaro had a lot of momentum, and to lose to Rusev just makes me think, well, I guess Cesaro is out of the picture because he couldn't beat Rusev. Why should he be in the U.S. title picture now? And Rusev won the first match, but then he would have lost the second match, of course, if Owens didn't interfere.
I guess that was WWE's way of leveling things out. They were like, Cesaro, you've been burning it up lately. Let's cool you down a little bit. But if we were to have a Rusev versus Cesaro match at any other point throughout the year, Cesaro would have got mollywopped. So, I mean, the fact that it was competitive, that should mean something.
No, yeah, I mean, Cesaro has come... I want to say he's come a long way, but it's not even that, because Cesaro has been at this level before. It's more like he's gotten back to where he used to be, but now it's like looking like they lost confidence in him. I was almost positive that Cesaro would come out on top in the triple threat. I was so surprised, especially because,
me too.
Especially because Rusev just beat him with some sort of standard kick. I'm not really sure. And I don't know. I still think Cesaro might be added to the match on SmackDown or something, but it's a very strange match that's we're heading into, because you have all these other players that aren't even involved in the match, it seems. But one thing that I... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just going to say my prediction. I think Owens is going to win. I don't know if it's going to be against Cesaro added in or against John Cena, but I think Owens is walking out with the title.
One thing that I can appreciate, though, the fact that that triple threat match was so hard hitting, because that's something that I've been craving in WWE for a very long time, adding meaning to championships, because sometimes we do get into a place where I look at titles and I say, what the fuck does that title mean? What value is in that championship? What value other than it being a piece of jewelry? And John Cena, he's put so much importance in the United States Championship, and the fact that those guys were going out there and they were acting like they were in the friggin' main event of the show because they wanted that United States Championship so much, that was awesome. I loved it. And that just goes to show that matches like that, where the championship isn't even on the line, it adds importance to the championship, because if those guys want it, it makes me care about it more. So, yeah, great on every single competitor involved. As far as who's going to win this match, I'd like to see Kevin Owens win. I would. Is that going to happen? I don't know. It is WWE, but I would like to see Kevin Owens start his run as United States Champion. Even though John Cena has been doing an amazing job, and hell, I wish that reign could last forever. I I think this would be a nice time to give it over to Kevin Owens.
I mean, I really stand by what I said on Wednesday when I was having that vision of the triple threat. I was getting that even harder today during today's triple threat. I'm like, wow, Cesaro's going to win right here. He's going to face Cena. Owens is going to interfere. Then Cena's going to be like, no, you don't screw him. You're screwed because I'm adding Cesaro to the title match. And then in the title match, you have Cesaro nearly beat John Cena, and then Owens steals the victory. Because that would make so much sense to me, because it would prolong this feud. It would add a new element to it. But right now, if it's just Cena versus Owens one-on-one, I'm not really sure what they're going to do. Is it just going to be the end of the feud? Because that's what it has to be almost, because it's a rubber match. I don't know how you stretch it out longer than that.
Yeah, and I also think of the dynamics here. You have John Cena and Cesaro, which is a great match. You have John Cena and Kevin Owens, which is a great match. Cesaro and Kevin Owens, which certainly seems like it would be quite a match as well. You put these three guys in a triple threat, and you have to think that would be a really good matchup, right? I mean, even if they had it at Battleground and again at SummerSlam, I really think that would be fine. Like, if you throw Cesaro in the mix at Battleground, you do what Steven was talking about, and then Kevin Owens is champion. Cena's still entitled to his rematch. Cesaro feels screwed over, has to earn his way back into it, does, and then, you can go anywhere after that. You could have Cesaro win the title, Owens retain it. You could branch off into Owens versus Cesaro as a feud. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, and the United States title feels more important right now than it has felt in the last 5, 6, 7 years combined. The last important U.S. title reign I can even remember is MVP's, when he broke the record for having the longest reign or whatever.
I mean, I'm gonna give it to Zack Ryder's. It was a short reign, but it was still...
That's true.
It was still important to him.
That's true. It felt like it mattered when Zack Ryder won, but it was more because Zack Ryder was over with a lot of people. And I see you, Jay. I see you with your... Yeah, Zack Ryder, what the hell are you guys talking about? But it did feel like a big title win because it was in a hometown place and everything, but nothing compares to... I'd say since MVP's reign, I haven't felt like the U.S. title has consistently been...
I mean, that is true enough. Yeah.
We're going to move from one championship in WWE to another, the Intercontinental Championship. It will be on the line at Battleground in a triple threat match. This match will feature Ryback, Big Show, and The Miz. I'll have to admit something at this point. I have not given a fuck about this feud literally since Big Show challenged Ryback before the last pay-per-view. I didn't care then, and I don't care now.
Why is The Miz in this match?
Yeah.
Can anyone answer that question for me?
I mean, why is Big Show in the match? Like, I guess I do have the answer to that question. Big Show is in the match because he's big. That's it.
I mean, I like I said the other week, I for some reason the Ryback versus Big Show is doing it for me, but I don't know why the hell The Miz is there. I don't get it.
The Miz is there to add the entertainment because he's like the only saving grace from this feud for me. The fact that I can see him go out there and annoy people. Like, Miz annoying other people is entertaining to me.
And it's funny because I just saw an article, I think it was on Bleacher Report, and it said something along the lines of Ryback, and again, I didn't read the article, but the headline was something along the lines of Ryback has breathed new life into the Intercontinental Championship, and I'm like, he would have breathed new life into the Intercontinental Championship had he had any kind of feud or anything that could have had life to it.
Once again, my what the fuck face.
Right. Where has the life been breathed into this championship at any point since Ryback has been champion?
I mean, it has. I see the potential to do it because I feel like Ryback, like, to him, that was a huge moment, and I feel that.
Yes. And he talked about how his parents, they talked for the first time in, 15 years, when he won the championship. Like, there's something very endearing about Ryback every time he speaks. Like, if this whole pro wrestling thing doesn't work out for him, he should really become a motivational speaker. Because I just, ever since that promo that he cut that was like quasi in response to CM Punk, I just love to hear Ryback speak.
Yeah, Ryback he's awesome. He's really good. But
this whole breathe new life thing, bullshit.
Oh my God. I was like, what?
Yeah.
When?
I thought the Big Show feud was a good introductory feud, just to have Ryback run through him.
Yeah.
But,
I did too. That's what I remember saying
here?
that on the show, actually, when it first was happening. I'm like, well, I mean, they could actually do something with this, because it's like Ryback has to prove that he's really, like, the toughest guy in WWE by beating the world's largest athlete. Like, there's actually something there. And then they gave me the entire thing on Raw in that Miz TV segment by having Ryback easily lift Big Show, and I'm just like, yep, they gave me the payoff on TV for free, so that's that.
Yeah, like I've just compared the Intercontinental Championship to the United States Championship. John Cena is doing such amazing things with the United States title and then with the Intercontinental Championship. Why? What?
It makes you wonder what could have been.
When?
If Daniel Bryan didn't get injured. I think if Daniel Bryan did get injured, we'd be seeing a parallel running between Cena and Bryan, and then having them collide at SummerSlam.
Yep.
But, Kevin Owens versus Cena, maybe that's worth the no Bryan. Probably not.
As far as the whole Daniel Bryan thing, of course I would want him back, but if you say just the Intercontinental Championship itself, and it's like a Wayne type thing, like the United States Championship is up here and the Intercontinental Championship is down here, I'm willing to take that trade-off. If we're getting amazing things from the United States Championship and bullshit from Intercontinental Championship, I'll accept that deal. I'll accept it. Who do you guys have winning?
Ryback. I don't see why wouldn't Ryback win. Or maybe that's the reason why I shouldn't pick Ryback, because it makes too much sense, right? Maybe I should have Big Show. Actually, if they booked Big Show like he was booked in ECW in like 2007, I would take a Big Show Intercontinental title run, maybe. But I still pick Ryback.
Yeah, I'm also picking Ryback. I'm hoping Ryback wins more than anything. Like, I'm just, to be honest, I am really hoping Ryback wins, but I don't give a fuck at all about this match, and I can't believe we have taken as much time as we have to talk about this useless match. That's all I got.
Where's Mizdow?
I wish he was in it, damn it.
Ryback, I guess. Whatever. I don't know if this is actually improving things or not, because we're moving on to the next match here. Randy Orton versus Sheamus. Is this an improvement?
That's a feud?
No, this is not an improvement, because I don't give a fuck about this at all either.
Apparently, Randy Orton didn't give a fuck about it either. He took like a 2-week vacation in the middle of the friggin' feud.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell this is, and something's going on with Randy. He's like drowning in the mid-card right now, which is a shame.
Randy is like, shit, you'll be here when I get back.
Yeah, this is not a feud, in my opinion. This is like the type of feud you see. This is like on the level of R-Truth versus Bad News Barrett right now. Like that's the quality of this feud, if it could even be called that.
Oh.
And Evan, what you were talking about earlier, you were talking about all of those different match combinations. Like you like Cena versus Owens, you like Owens versus well, I actually did see Owens versus Cesaro on SmackDown a few weeks ago. I like that one. And then, Cena versus Cesaro. I like Randy Orton. I like Sheamus. Put them together, and the shit just doesn't work out the way that it's supposed to.
It's because my friend asked me this question. He asked me, why are Sheamus and Randy so boring? And I don't think they're boring, but it's just that these are two guys who are overexposed, and they've fought several times since like 2010, and it's just one of those feuds where no one gives a shit. They're overexposed. You put them together, it's just an overexposed feud. It's like Cena versus Orton. It's like Sheamus versus Cena. It's like you put these two guys who are overexposed together and nobody cares because we've seen it before and there's really no stakes on the line.
I mean, how did this whole thing really start? They had a couple matches on Raw and Sheamus hit Orton
Sheamus
with a
beat
chair?
him up or something.
Okay.
And then Randy beat him up, and then they're just mad at each other because
Yeah. So,
I was about to ask if they had any interaction on Raw because I forgot, and then I remembered they actually did in an All-Star match. Okay.
Yeah.
yep.
Well, at least The Miz wasn't in that one.
Okay.
I mean, really, the build-up, though, for this, come on. This is just let's throw these two guys together.
Yeah, this is
again.
This is the match where they're like, oh shit, we got to do something with Sheamus because we gave him the Money in the Bank. We got to do something with Randy because we're paying him a shitload of money. I guess we'll just put them together.
That's so true. I mean, honestly, and that's why I think Orton's actually going to win this match because Sheamus is Money in the Bank winner, and we know where that goes. So I'm picking Orton.
Don't you just love that? You're like,
Yep.
okay, Sheamus, he's a future WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and he needs some wins, so that means Orton is going to
Yep, it really does. Yep.
No, I'm actually gonna pick Sheamus just because I don't know. I feel like I just have some sort of mysterious confidence that they're actually gonna get behind Sheamus.
God, I hope so. The guy has the briefcase. He should win.
I mean, according to some people, though, they don't want to see anything become of that briefcase, so they're like, lose, I don't care. But I'm gonna go with I guess I'll go with Sheamus here. Yeah, I don't care one way or another. Next up, we have the Primetime Players. They will be defending their WWE Tag Team titles versus the former champions, The New Day. I'm pretty sure a lot of folks out there would want to see, Titus in a match with JBL, but I guess
I was just about to say that. I'm like, where's Titus versus JBL?
Yeah, that's the real feud there. But I guess we have to settle for Primetime Players and New Day. I mean, it's not bad, but
It's okay. It's really weird that they're the champions.
That's the thing. I feel like this could possibly have been the time. At Battleground, that's when they should have won. Because I look at with them winning at Money in the Bank, it really felt premature. And also, I wasn't at a point where I was ready to say bye to the New Day as champions. So the only logical conclusion from that is they shouldn't have won then.
Yeah,
They
it's
should
weird.
Continue on with their reign.
Because when they had that match, they won it at Elimination Chamber, right? I can't even keep track anymore with the pay-per-views, but whatever the match was that they won the titles, I don't think anyone actually thought they would win. So there was no time. There was no time to let the hype build. If they actually showed us that they were pushing Primetime Players to the point where they actually might win the titles, well then we could get excited about it. They could have built it up towards Battleground, but since they just won out of nowhere, now it's like, well...
Oh, and they won at Money in the Bank.
Oh, okay. And what did they do at Elimination Chamber?
They had that tag team Elimination Chamber.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so I'm getting them mixed up. Money in the Bank is the more recent one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But, Primetime Players are a favorite team among a lot of the crowds. So if we thought that they actually had a chance, we would have been excited for this. But they kind of just went out of the blue, and now they had the titles, and it's like, okay, well, we already got the payoff, so I don't know. I feel like there's no stakes. Even though there are, it doesn't feel like there are.
Yeah, this feud, the biggest thing that happened in this feud was JBL and Titus, so it's kind of hard to get invested now, but I feel like I guess Primetime Players, they have been getting some wins over New Day, and it would have been great if this was the time that they won the titles, because we know a little bit more about that team, we're more familiar with them, and like you were talking about, they missed the opportunity to take us on a journey with the Primetime Players, and honestly, I think it had a lot to do with the whole PR appeal of Primetime Players.
Yeah.
If you catch my drift.
Combined, they have some PR appeal. I mean, one of them had the whole coming out of the closet. The other one was the Dad of the Year, something like that. I mean, it's a pretty PR positive team for them. So I think you might be onto something there, but they haven't been milking it, so I'm not sure. It's I mean, they mentioned the Titus thing, but it's not like it's been like, look at Titus, you know. And when WWE milks something, we'll know about it, you know. It's not subtle.
Well, I have seen like headlines and things like that. First openly gay wrestler in WWE wins wins a championship and things like that.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, whether or not it was their intention, I guess it's giving them something. But yeah, I mean, yeah,
I don't put it past them.
Yeah, I don't either. I just feel like if they were doing that, they'd be talking about it more. Like you'd be hearing like Darren Young, he'd take up the gay persona on TV. I think if they really wanted to or maybe they're just too afraid for that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a line probably that doesn't need to be crossed there. I've had my fill of that with Orlando Jordan over in.
I agree. I just feel like if they wanted to, that's what they would do.
I mean, he's done like the jokes and things like that. I think that is the extent that they should go. Like no further than that. Like we know, we get it. He's making jokes about himself. Like it's cool there. But I see someone in the chat asking where's Harper and Rowan. Rowan, I believe, is injured now, so that tag team has basically been put on ice until whatever happens with him happens.
Why are they not back with Bray Wyatt is what I want to know. Get the whole gang back together. They were almost there. I was feeling it. Come on, like almost.
I mean,
so
we
close.
have like a cult following in the chat about Eric Rowan, but I can't really lie. I've kind of gotten in on the Eric Rowan.
No, why?
Oh yeah, Eric Rowan, man. What
we are not about to do this. Like this whole thing started as a revolt against me.
He solved Rubik's cubes.
The whole Survivor Series thing. Like I'm like, what? What the fuck is an Eric Rowan?
He was a coveted part of that team.
Can you solve a Rubik's cube as fast as Eric Rowan can?
Yeah. Can you say pretty to a girl in a really awkward fashion like Eric Rowan? Yeah,
I'm quite sure that I can, but the real question is, why would I want to?
Honestly, he's okay. He's all right.
But do you have that mask that Eric Rowan has? Exactly.
Are you trying to sell me on Eric Rowan?
Oh, yes.
I have to tell you,
already sold, man.
It's not working at all, man.
No, but really though, yeah, I know. Seriously though, this tag team feud, I mean, I think it'll be a good match. These are two good teams, really talented guys. I actually think we're gonna get a title change, and we'll have New Day winning the belts. Might be in the minority. Might be in the minority and thinking so. Maybe I'm not in the minority and thinking so.
Yeah, I agree.
But,
I agree. I'm right there with you.
All right, great. I don't know. A lot of people seem to be thinking that primetime players will hang on to the titles. I would rather see the primetime players hang on to the titles. But I think after that whole Titus tirade, that might not have anything to do with it, but I wouldn't be that surprised if they don't hang on to the titles. And that does have a little bit of something to do with it. But maybe it's just to prolong the feud. Sometimes with the tag team division especially, I feel like the title switching hands a little more often is actually a good thing, because then you have more fresh tag feuds and it gives you a reason to prolong them more, because they don't use the same promo elements and things like that I think they actually could utilize a little more often. But the fact that they don't makes me think that the title change here would be a good way to have another match between the two teams at SummerSlam, unless they decide to go with like a multi-team turmoil match, which they seem to do at big pay-per-views lately, so I don't know. But either way, I see New Day with the belts.
Well, speaking of the Wyatt family, we talked about them a bit. Let's move on to their patriarch, Bray Wyatt. He will be competing in a match at Battleground versus Roman Reigns. They've been playing this whole psychological warfare, and Bray Wyatt has got the upper hand on Roman Reigns very frequently. But on Monday Night Raw, we saw Roman Reigns go after Bray. He was on the offensive, getting a little bit aggressive, and I thought that was great. And as much as I've criticized Roman Reigns for coming off like a dumbass at times, all of that has been erased, and Roman Reigns is like the smartest guy in WWE history for one reason and one reason alone. Did you guys see on Raw, Roman Reigns found the key to breaking the invisible ring barrier? Did you guys see that? Did you notice that?
I have no idea what you're alluding to. What's the punchline to this?
It's no punchline. I'm telling it. He's like the smartest guy in WWE. Have you guys ever seen two guys fighting in the ring and one guy runs off and then the other one goes to chase after him, but he like stops at the ropes and then he points to him?
Oh, yeah.
Roman Reigns actually got out of the fucking ring. And then they like cut to black. Like it seemed like such a weird place to like go to commercial. But here's why they did it. Because their minds were blown. They were like, "What the fuck just happened? He got out of the ring."
That was a strange segment because I thought it was really cool when it first happened. Like I thought, wow, Roman looks like a badass here. I didn't see it coming, but first of all, when Ambrose didn't get involved, I thought, like, why are you just standing there? And second of all, it just cut to black. Where did they go? How did it end? I don't get it.
They didn't even. I guess that's one of the situations where the WWE app would be very beneficial. Like, let us know what happened during the break, or somebody said Roman Reigns escaped the invisible ring barrier, then he had the invisible ramp barrier. So,
that's right.
Just keep throwing up those diversions and stuff. If it's not one thing, it's another. But
I
Roman
think
Reigns, he redeemed himself.
Yeah, the feud's been all right. Like I said, like we've been saying, it really depends. If this is a feud that's meant to take up 2 or 3 pay-per-views, then it's on to a pretty good start, because in that case, this would be the first act. So, of course, it's not going to be too... you wouldn't maybe hear Roman speak because it's still the first act. But if this is meant to be a one-shot deal, which I think it might be, then it's pretty bad. I really have to see how it concludes at Battleground, how it continues on. But unfortunately, I see it ending. I think Roman Reigns is going to win, and I think that's just going to be it.
It's kind of unfortunate that I didn't see Roman Reigns cut a promo tonight, and I know there are like so many people around the world saying, "Jay, just leave well enough alone." You probably you didn't really want to see him cut a promo, but I wanted to see him verbalize that aggression that he had towards Bray Wyatt. Like I sometimes there are just moments where you need to hear somebody put into words what it is that they're feeling, their mindset. And I think that WWE missed a pretty big opportunity by not having Roman Reigns do that, and that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, again, I think that this match at Battleground is going to more or less determine my overall feeling for the feud, because I've had very mixed thoughts. Like, from the beginning, I'm like, yeah, this is a feud I've kind of wanted to see for the last couple of months, so good, I'm glad this is happening. However, I still am kind of feeling that it probably should have started a bit sooner, but that's beside the point. The build-up itself has been alright, but I'm not going nuts over it. I never thought it was anything crazy good, but I thought there were some segments that were at least decent and did their purpose, served their purpose. So I'm not going to sit there and say that Wyatt versus Reigns is something that I'm not at all looking forward to. I'm more or less curious to see how it turns out. I think this feud should go multiple months, and I think Bray Wyatt should win at Battleground. Whether or not that's going to happen is a different story. I'm going to just throw it out there anyway and say Bray Wyatt wins at Battleground. And I think that's because it should be a big payoff moment for Roman Reigns to win at SummerSlam. Like, I know, again, we haven't had a whole lot of these sense-making type of moments here where the guy gets the big payoff at the big pay-per-view, but I'm going to say that this will finally make sense and Roman Reigns will get his due victory at SummerSlam, whereas Bray Wyatt will get the Battleground win to psychologically break Roman down more, to further the story, to give you more to see with this. Because I think if Roman Reigns wins a Battleground, I don't think there's a reason to have a SummerSlam match, really, because obviously Bray Wyatt doesn't have that much of an effect on him if he can just beat him, plain and simple.
Well, that's pretty much the story of Bray Wyatt, is he's the guy who has no effect on anyone, because everyone who feuds with Bray Wyatt just emerges from the feud as if nothing has happened.
It's true.
And except for Kane, of course, because Kane, after he got done with Bray Wyatt, he emerged as a suit. So I don't know how that happened, but that was a
business casual Kane.
He traded in the mask for that tie, man.
Yeah, but other than that, like every feud that Bray Wyatt's been in, it's like there's no he doesn't affect his opponents. It's like the world before the feud and the world after the feud are the same thing. I don't. That's my number one criticism of Bray Wyatt's character, is that anyone who goes through him doesn't change. And that's what should happen, because he's a very cerebral character who challenges the core virtues of the heroes that he's up against. But usually the hero just either loses or they win, but nothing changes. And it's the same with Bray Wyatt, too. He emerges as if nothing happened. He lost to The Undertaker, and then he just pretends that he beat The Undertaker. He's like, oh, I'm the face of fear now. Okay, I guess so.
Yeah, and that's been the biggest issue with Bray. No question about it, has been the fact that all these feuds have just taken a character that is probably the coolest character in WWE today and made it something that you really can't believe in and get into, because nothing that he says ever stands the test of time or is true. If anything, Bray Wyatt is a comedian and a liar. And that's all Bray Wyatt is. He is doing fucking stand-up comedy as far as I'm concerned, because everything he says is a fucking lie. And it's becoming like, yep, all right, here we go.
Of course, man, he's the liar, man. He's the deceiver. Everything's a lie, brother.
I said this like over a year ago with Bray Wyatt. Either you die a visionary or live long enough for other people to realize you're full of shit. So I think that we've reached that full of shit moment, though. But I mean, it's still entertaining to watch. You know,
he is. He's a great character.
He has a way with his his prose, the way that he articulates. It's amazing. I just wish it meant something, you know.
So who do you pick, Jay? Did I miss your pick?
I was gonna fall into this Bray Wyatt trap once again, because I was gonna say Roman Reigns wins this match, because it would be very interesting. Because there was this interview, I talked about this interview on the show last week, where Roman Reigns, he was talking about how he was going to kick Bray Wyatt's ass, but he wasn't sure if that was going to be enough. And I was wondering, like, what if we get a situation where Roman Reigns beats Bray Wyatt, but then Bray Wyatt says, aha, motherfucker, you know, not quite yet, and he continues pressing Roman Reigns, and then Roman Reigns goes mad, attempting to determine what he's going to do next to deal with Bray Wyatt. Like, I hate the fact that Roman Reigns mentioned that, but I still think it would be an interesting story to tell. But shit, like, how many times have we seen Bray Wyatt do that already? You know, that was one of the big themes in the feud with John Cena. So,
oh god, yeah. And I think that was really the biggest detriment still. That feud was, no question, the worst thing that could have happened to Bray Wyatt. And everything since then has just been, like, disappointment after disappointment, whether it was Bray Wyatt winning a bunch of matches against Dean Ambrose, which did nothing for him, or having a really miserable feud with Chris Jericho that everyone thought was going to be good, myself included. And it's just been, and then the whole Undertaker thing, him single-handedly building himself back up, really, to the point where you knew he wasn't going to win it at WrestleMania, and then that's literally done nothing for him since then. So I'm going to just, you know, hang on to the little bit of hope that I have and say Bray Wyatt wins at Battleground, and I may very well be wrong.
I think we will see Bray Wyatt have his time where they really get behind his character, but I don't think it's yet.
I don't think so.
You know, I think, look, he's going to be around for a few years. It's bound to happen.
I really hope.
No, they're going to use him in that supernatural role where it's never going to really be about him. It's just that Bray Wyatt is going to be a tool for the creative team. We've seen him use like this a few times before, where if they don't know an ending for a match, they're like booked into a corner, and they need some shit to happen to get them out of it, and they throw in Bray Wyatt.
Oh yeah, that's
like you can
right.
You can look at what happened with Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. You can look at what happened with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Was it their Hell in a Cell match?
Yes, it was. No,
Yeah.
wait. Yes.
Or Kate. I know they were in some kind of
yeah,
structure.
it was at Hell in a Cell. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they just used they did it with John Cena too. That's how the whole friggin' feud started.
Yeah.
I was gonna say at Extreme Rules when they used the kid with how Wyatt didn't even beat Cena in a good way.
And at Royal Rumble, he had a match with Randy Orton. So,
and he had Daniel Bryan too. That match he had with him at a Royal Rumble was that 2014. They started to make Daniel Bryan look like he was going to join the Wyatt family. It was going to be obviously what we ended up getting with Daniel Bryan was a hell of a trade-off, and I don't think I would change a damn thing about that. But still, that was like an amazing match for Wyatt. His character was on fire as far as I was concerned, and then the Cena feud happened.
I want to go to a comment in the chat now from Dalton. In other words, Wyatt is sort of a get-out-of-jail-free card. Yes.
Quite possibly. Him and Dean, my guys, in jail. Got to get him out.
No, alrighty, yeah. We're going to go ahead. I guess exactly what Bray Wyatt is. But we're going to move on now to the main event of Battleground, or should I say Massacre. Like, this is the point in the show where the fucking title of the pay-per-view is no longer Battleground, it's Massacre. And it better not be any other way, or there will be hell to pay. Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. This feud has been a hot-ass mess. And I understand why now. It's because Seth Rollins has absolutely no identity whatsoever. I look at this guy and I don't know who the hell he is. And quite frankly, I don't even know if Seth Rollins knows who he is. Because
I don't know, man. I think you do know who he is. I just don't think you like it. I think.
Yeah, he's a punk. He's a bitch. He's weak.
That's what he is.
I don't want to accept that, though.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want.
You know who he is. You just don't like it. So you're saying you don't know who he is, but you do.
Know what?
The whole point is that he's a punk ass bitch, and it works. I think people. I'm not saying
it does not.
I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying it's the best use of Seth Rollins. I'm just saying it's been effective and it's still effective. People still want to see Rollins get his ass kicked, including me. I'm looking forward to the Massacre.
In what way, though?
In that he draws heat and people want to see him get his ass kicked. Isn't that what a heel is all about?
But see, here's the thing, and Evan, I have to say you completely ruined it for me. Because you were talking about Seth Rollins last week and how good he was during the build for the Royal Rumble. I actually went back and I watched that episode of Monday Night Raw where they had the contract signing. They had a contract signing tonight on Raw. They also had one many, many months ago back in January. It was on the January 12th episode of Monday Night Raw. And I highly encourage you guys to go check that out and look at Seth Rollins and the way in which he interacted with Brock Lesnar. Look at Seth Rollins, the way in which he interacted with Brock Lesnar and John Cena in a main event segment on Raw, which was the contract signing. When everything was said and done on that show, Seth Rollins was standing tall after curb stomping Brock Lesnar and John Cena. That guy was standing tall. At that point, he had not won one world championship in WWE. Brock Lesnar had conquered the fucking streak. John Cena, 15-time world champion, and Seth Rollins was there commanding everyone's attention. I look at him back then, and I look at him right now, two completely different guys, and I don't know why WWE looked at the previous Seth Rollins and said that wasn't good enough. Like, I don't think that the story, like the character that you you lay out for Seth Rollins, I don't know why it was necessary for them to book him in that way. Like, I don't see anything from Seth Rollins today that verifies his existence. Like,
I'm not really sure why you think it's different. To me, Seth Rollins has been this way since the night after Payback. And he's had his moments that have been more badass than he's been recently, but more or less, he's just been a punk-ass bitch. And yeah, he was standing tall, but also John Cena was in that ring too. And Brock Lesnar didn't want his head. You know, back then, Rollins was just a gadfly in Lesnar's ass, you know, buzzing around there. But now he's gunning for Rollins. I'd be scared shitless too, you know.
I mean, he was gunning for him back then too because he called him Mr. Curb Stomp. And he talked about, like, they were standing face to face backstage, and Seth Rollins showed absolutely no weakness. He showed no vulnerability in any way, shape, or form. He was standing toe-to-toe with Brock Lesnar, and he's told him to his damn face, I am the future of WWE. He basically said, that title that you have on your shoulder right there, I'm taking that.
Yeah, he had no fear, and he looked right into his eyes. That was an amazing... I remember us going like, this is great. And yes. You know what? It's so funny because it's like, why is it that when people win the damn titles, things get worse? I thought that was when things got to their absolute best. It's almost like we build it, it culminates, and then...
okay, we're done.
Yeah, like that. The house is built, so peace. Like, I mean... No, come on. That house can still flourish. You can still paint that house. You can still, put new furniture in that house. You can, whatever. I mean, you can add on. You can make it that much better, and that's what the title run is supposed to do. And I feel like with Seth Rollins, he's just been going backwards. And not only that, but I also look at it this way. Seth Rollins, unquestionably, isn't supposed to be called the future anymore once he wins the title. I think he is supposed to be the present day, the living, breathing present day, and they're still calling him the future. And I just, that doesn't add up anymore. Like, the championship is supposed to be when you are the present, not you're still the future.
I've never liked that. It's not just Rollins who did that, too. There's been several guys throughout the years who have taken up that moniker. I've never really liked it because... why would you want to be the future? Why don't you be the present? And Rollins is the present, like you said. I don't see it peaking any higher than what he's gotten, unfortunately. I think his character might get better, but I think his run now is pretty much as good as it gets, what he did at WrestleMania.
Can't get any worse.
Well, I mean, that's one way to look at it, but I don't know, man. I see Lesnar kicking his ass. I think it's going to go exactly how Heyman said it is, and... people are saying, "Oh no, that's too obvious. It's not going to go like that. There's going to be some sort of screwy ending." I say, no, it's not. They're telling you how it's going to end, and it will end just like they told you. Brock Lesnar is going to kill Rollins. He's going to be the champion, and he's going to go into SummerSlam with the belt. I don't know what he's going to do. I think he might fight Roman Reigns. I think he might have a rematch with Rollins. I think that would be a bad idea, though.
Now, Steven.
Yeah.
You've been watching WWE as long as I have. 1999.
Uh-huh.
You know, some fuckery is abound.
Yes,
it's coming.
It's not. Look, I agree that usually you could sense the fuckery. I don't think so this time. I think this is the end of Rollins because sometimes you just have to give you the payoff, and Rollins has been running from the payoff for over a year now. And who better to give you the payoff than Brock Lesnar? And everything's going away from Rollins. He lost J&J. He lost Kane. I don't see what kind of ending is going to save Rollins. That's going to prolong a Rollins-Lesnar feud. Does anyone want to prolong? Yeah, but they fought already 3 times. Does anyone want to see Triple H fight Brock Lesnar a 4th time? If anything, we might see...
I'm not saying I want that.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't see... I don't see Rollins winning, I honestly don't. I'm not going to say I'd be shocked if he won, because, like you said, the screwy ending, but I just expect a clean massacre, and I expect Lesnar to beat him, and that's just how it's going to be,
Well, there are other options out there,
There's always a plan B. What is it? I don't know.
Or a plan MITB. Terrible, right? Yeah, I know, but it's still possible, though. I remember. Here's the one thing that I can predict, though. Brock Lesnar is not walking away the WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
I think he is. I think he is. He's walking
into it.
I
hope so.
I think he's walking into SummerSlam the champion, and I think he might lose the championship at SummerSlam, maybe to Roman Reigns. I think that's a very likely scenario.
I think that raises that's a good... I like your viewpoint. I may not see it the same way, but I think that's a fair way of explaining it. I remember saying back right after Sheamus won Money in the Bank, I said right out loud, right then and there, that his involvement with any type of Triple H authority thing, I've always thought that's a possibility. I'm not saying it's a good one, But I'm just saying. Triple H and
definitely
Sheamus.
not that.
People know that Triple H and Sheamus are buddies. And
yeah.
I would not be that surprised if Sheamus was to be involved and was the next guy in the Authority because Rollins was a quote-unquote failed project of sorts. I can see this happening. I'm not saying it will, but I could see it as a possibility. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I'm just saying I could see it as a possibility.
Now
so
that
MITV thing Jay is talking about, I can see.
Now that you mentioned that, I'm actually very scared for Battlegrounds.
Now you feel what I feel. Now you feel what I feel.
But I'm
just sitting here like.
I'm not against Sheamus or anything. It's just that, you got.
I'm against Sheamus as WWE World Heavyweight Champion for damn sure. I'm not against him in general, but as WWE World Heavyweight Champion, yes.
In principle, I think it could be done correctly, but not right now. I don't think so. I think you have to build him up. I for one would not mind a Sheamus versus Lesnar feud if they could build him up properly, because if you put the guys next to each other, I could buy Sheamus at least brawling with Lesnar in like a bar or something. Like I could see that. But, like, as it stands now, it can't work. You have to build him up first.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't see Brock Lesnar coming away with the championship. I see him beating the hell out of Rollins for the most of the match, and I see the fuckery is abound, as Jay so eloquently put it. And and I really don't think Brock's going to leave with the title, as much as... it seems like a very potent possibility, like it's going to happen. It just seems like that's why I just feel like it won't. It's like, yep, there's a 99.9% chance this is going to happen, and here's why it won't. So I can see it, man.
I get it. I get that you guys are experiencing the whole, well, this is too one-sided, therefore the opposite's going to happen. But I think this is one of those rare cases where it's so one-sided that it actually does happen. Like, another one of those cases was Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker, where Brock Lesnar was, like, they kept telling you, Heyman kept telling you, oh, yeah, he's going to beat him. Yeah, he's going to beat him. We're like, no, he's not going to beat him. He just beats him. That's it. Like, sometimes it's exactly what they say you're going to get. You just get it,
Now that you bring that up, because you know my whole thoughts on that.
Oh, yeah, you got to... The Greek
you can win me over with anything. You can win me over with anything mentioning Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. But am I the only one that's sitting here, as amazing as I think Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar will be in a competitive match? Am I the only one sitting here saying that it better not be a competitive match?
Well, if it is, it's a really misleading match because that's not. We have no reason to believe it would be competitive.
Yeah, that's not the story that WWE has told.
Not at all.
Told the story that Seth Rollins.
6 months ago, they told us that it would be competitive, and it was one of the best matches I've seen in a long time. It was fantastic. That was an amazing match at Royal Rumble. But, like, it's so different now, and we're only 6 months ahead of that. That's what's so crazy to me. It really is just, wow.
I do think it will be competitive. I kind of agree that it shouldn't be, but I have a feeling that we're going to see something from Rollins. He's going to pull out some sort of trick. Not like the fuckery that you're thinking of, but I think he's going to have some strategy going in against Lesnar that he's going to get some damage in, but I think Lesnar's going to kill him in the end. Either way, I'm fine. If he squashes him, that's cool with me too, honestly.
Has to be a squash. Has to be.
I think if we get a competitive match, I'm sure you're gonna like it. Like, you say that now, but if the match is awesome, you're gonna be like, that was awesome.
I will say that. However, I will be very what's the word I'm looking for here? Not exactly mad, more annoyed, miffed. I think moderately miffed, as Charlie would say. The fact that you didn't tell a story to indicate that. Like, if you wanted us to believe that Seth Rollins is a legit threat or anything resembling even the slightest threat to Brock Lesnar, why couldn't you tell that story? He was running from him on Monday Night Raw, and then the guy popped in the damn ring after Lesnar leaves, and then all of a sudden, here comes the tough talk.
Man,
Okay.
that was. See, you love the Shakespeare, right? That was Seth Rollins giving his tragic monologue right before he dies. That's what that was. Like, that was the
Is this
villain.
gonna become a thing
No,
now?
I'm serious. I tweeted that out. Like that was the final breaths of a dying man. Like that was his like last like before right before he dies. Like that's all he could get out because he's so frustrated. And it's just what to me it's one of those stories that I love is where the villain just loses. Like everything falls around and they just lose. And I like that story.
Well, see, it makes sense because your prediction is, things are going to work out the way that, they're telling us it is. But see, I can't subscribe to that until I see the match.
How would you guys feel? And this is a completely out there thing, and I think it'd be kind of dumb, but I can't say I wouldn't mark out if Roman Reigns and Ambrose helped Rollins beat Lesnar.
It would be amazing.
Yeah?
I'd mark that all out.
Like in the way in the back of my mind, when Seth Rollins grabbed the mic after Brock Lesnar went wild, I was thinking, what if? Nah, it's not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
that's how I am too. I'm like, that would be kind of dumb, but I'd mark out.
It would be really dumb, but and I would give them a 100% pass. So, yeah, like shit, do
Thinking
it.
about it, it wouldn't actually be that dumb because you'd have the Shield saying, "Yeah, we don't like Rollins, but our mission from the get-go was to keep this belt circulating around us three. So, yeah, Rollins is a punk-ass bitch, but we'd rather him have the belt than Brock Lesnar." I mean, it wouldn't be the worst. They could rationalize it, is what I'm saying, you know.
Yeah, they've done worse this year, so yeah. Alrighty, guys, that's it for our WWE Battleground preview. Hopefully, you will join us this Sunday following Battleground, where we will be delivering our post-show review of the show. And yeah, that's something really big to look forward to. As far as the show itself, I'm hoping that it's going to be a good show. Not too excited about a lot of the matches that are going to be occurring, but hey, WWE, they could turn it out with the actual in-ring performances, and of course, I'm hoping that will happen. And yeah, we'll see you guys following Battleground on Sunday. You have any parting shots before we head off air, Evan?
No, just I know that the fuckery's abound though. It's like missile incoming. Like I feel it, man. I will be surprised if it is just a straight up. That's it. I mean, hey, I think that would be actually more unexpected than if there's fuckery, because that's what we have grown to just to like feel.
That's why I'm saying it's gonna happen because everyone's
I
expecting
hope you're right.
fuckery. That's
I
why
hope
it's
you're
So
right
it's like
in that way.
So what you're saying is that they're gonna swerve, since we're expecting a swerve, they're gonna swerve us on a swerve, and that be a swerve in and of
yeah,
itself.
exactly, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Rollins is getting killed. I think that's just.
I feel like Triple H's music can't not hit though. Like the game has to be there. I just can't see it not happening.
I mean, if it does, it'll be right after Rollins loses the belt, and then Triple H comes and gives him a pedigree or something.
Yeah.
Like,
And then-
that's a pedigree, motherfucker.
Now here comes Sheamus, and then
Or maybe have Stephanie go out there and show them what a real
Oh.
pedigree is.
Yep, and all the divas one by one pedigree them. There's the fuckery.
I think that, I mean, if Sasha Banks is out there, I'll accept it. That would be an appropriate way of ending the
Yeah,
show.
we're marking out not because of the match, but because Sasha fucking Banks is in the main event.
Sasha fucking Banks. There you go.
That's right. It's
All right.
fucking underlined twice.
Yes, in bold, all caps. Yeah.
Italicized as well.
All right, guys, that's it for this episode of PWF Empire Live. Catch you on the flip side. Peace.